I can't believe I'm filming this video. Hello gorgeous, welcome back to my channel, or hello if you're new, and if you're just happening to stumble on this video, it is going to be a wild one. So make sure you guys are subscribed. I upload every single week, and I actually got inspired to do this video because one of you have been commenting on my videos saying that I should do a story time, and you guys missed my story time, so I was like, you know what? I have been meaning to tell this story years ago, and I never had the guts to share it. Though I did film this video years ago, and I'm kind of glad I didn't upload it because I totally was in a different mind space back then compared to a few years later now. But I am finally ready to just share it. You know, it might be a little bit of a long one. I got my coffee, grab your teas. There's definitely gonna be some tea spilling. And no, this is not clickbait. This is my life, so there's that. I am laughing now, but honestly, this was definitely one of the hardest times in my life. I was very confused. I was heartbroken, and it gave me a lot of trust issues on people, I'm not gonna lie. I just kind of want to also make this video because unfortunately I know ghosting is something that a lot of people do to others, which is a really crappy thing to do. So if you are someone that is ghosting someone, just don't do it. Don't be a coward. I know someone might be going through the same thing, which you can share your stories down below or share it with me on my Instagram at NicolettaXOYT. I am currently in a relationship. I've been in a relationship with my boyfriend, Nicholas. We've been together now for 2.5 years, and it is not about him, obviously, because we're still together. This was actually my last relationship, and I never thought I would talk about this, but you know, here I am right now, and we're gonna talk about it. So much time has passed, and I'm in a happy relationship. It's all good in the hood. Ghosting. This is the Urban Dictionary definition. When a person cuts off all communication with their friends or person they're dating with zero warning or notice beforehand. You'll mostly see them avoiding friends' phone calls, social media, and avoiding them in public. That is definitely what happened to me. I'm so bad at telling stories, but we're gonna just get into this. So I'm gonna rewind back all the way to summer of 2014, so going into 2015. My best friend Jessica and I booked a trip to Barcelona, Spain for our university graduation trip. This was our first time traveling to another country by ourselves together, and it is one of the best trips, and it was so much fun. We landed on my birthday, which was super cool, so we were celebrating my birthday and just celebrating being done school, and my best friend's birthday was like a month later, so there's all of the celebrations. We were living our best life, and we were obsessed with the city. We stayed there for 2 weeks, and a week into our trip, we decided to go out one night, so you know, we got all dressed up. We went to this strip in Barcelona, which basically is where like all the tourists would go. There was the beach, and then there's a bunch of different little disco clubs, as they call it there. So we went out one night not expecting anything, and Jess actually met this group of people that were from Denmark, and there was actually these 2 girls from Sweden. Jess introduced me, and we kind of hung out with this group from Denmark and Denmark and Sweden. So we were like the 2 Canadian girls. Hey girl, hey. When we were in the group, I met this person who I'm gonna call Denmark because he's from Denmark, so I thought that would be fitting. So from here on out, we're gonna call him Denmark. When I met him in the group, and we kind of just clicked and hit it off. I'm someone too that doesn't open up very often, and when I do, it means that I'm really clicking with the person, and I also just get this sense of trust with the person. And this goes with even friends. I have really close friends, but I don't have a lot of friends because I just find it really hard for me to open up, and there's only a select few people that I feel comfortable just being completely myself and opening up. And for some reason, I felt completely comfortable with this person. I actually met Denmark the night they were going home. So they were leaving that morning. So it was just like I met this person for one night, And I remember being so sad knowing that he and his friends and like everyone was leaving the next day, and Jess and I were still in Barcelona for 1 week. So it's just like, wow, just my luck. I meet this person who I thought was really great and we just hit it off, and I'm like, of course they would be leaving the next morning. Story of my life. I remember we like talked all night, and then he obviously had to go home because they had a super early flight, and then Jess and I just went back to our hotel and we exchanged numbers. We got WhatsApp. I kept getting asked about WhatsApp when I was in Europe. I actually didn't have that app before. I didn't even know what it was. Everyone I pretty much met were from different countries in Europe, and so Jess and I downloaded WhatsApp to like stay in contact with all our friends we met on that whole trip. Denmark messaged me the night I was in the hotel room, so that night, and then all the way throughout my entire rest of my trip. So I was there, like I said, for 1 more week, and he was just smooth talking the crap out of me. He basically made it seem like, oh my God, like I've never met someone like you. You are so different. I'm so sad I had to leave. I want to come back to see you. Ever since that day of us meeting, from that one night that we met each other, he's messaged me every single day from morning to night. I kind of didn't know like what was gonna come out of it, because of course once I went back to Canada, we lived literally halfway across the world from each other, so I wasn't really expecting anything to come out of it, but I still wanted to talk to him, even though I didn't really think like anything could obviously happen because of the distance that we had. I was kind of sad about it because I usually have a really hard time meeting people when it comes to relationships, because honestly there is a lot of F-boys around here. I know, especially at that time, I never met someone that actually treated me with respect, and I'm not someone too that dates a lot and has dated a lot in my life, so when I find someone that I like, it's really hard. I am pretty picky, I must admit. So I knew that nothing probably would have came out of it. We're probably gonna talk for a couple weeks and then it's gonna die down, and then we're gonna move on with our lives and like we don't even know each other. But that actually did not end up being the case. So me and Jess, we spent the rest of our trip, had the best time ever. It was so much fun, and I still will always remember that trip. I was so sad when we had to leave. I was sad in the fact that like we had to go back home, and in the back of my head I was kind of sad knowing that now I have to go back to Canada, which is even further away from where this person lived in Denmark. Also, the time change was going to be different now that I was going home to Canada. I believe in Denmark, now that I'm trying to think back, it's either 6 or 8 hours difference. Let me see the difference. It's been so long. Yeah, so it's a 6-hour difference. So Canada, we are 6 hours behind, and in Denmark it is 6 hours ahead. So I headed back home. Denmark kept messaging me. And at first I was kind of like we're gonna keep talking, but like eventually it's gonna fizzle out, because I knew that there was no really way for me to go to Denmark. To travel to Europe is expensive from Canada. At that time I had like a full-time job. I didn't do YouTube as my full-time, so I knew like I can't just take time and travel. I had to go back to work, and even just taking those 2 weeks was pretty much my vacation time for my job. So I just thought, you know, we're gonna keep talking and it's eventually gonna die down, because I just knew that I just went to Europe and there's no way I'm gonna be able to go so quickly, even though I really wanted to, but I knew it just wasn't in the cards. So he actually kept talking to me, and ever since we met each other from that one night in Spain, which is just crazy to me. It was literally one night. He kept talking to me and making it seem like he wanted to be with me, and that I was so different and so special and yada yada yada. He would literally write me essays of texts, which maybe I'll pop some up. I don't know. It's so weird to like look back on that, but I will maybe put up some messages. But he would send me messages upon messages, just pretty much complimenting me and making me think I'm the most amazing human being on the earth. He would send morning messages and goodnight messages and would talk to me every single night on WhatsApp. We'd go back and forth. Of course, by this point, we had each other on all our social medias, on Facebook, on Instagram, Snapchat, I think even at that time. And this was the time too when I came back from Canada, or from Spain, that he said, let's start Skyping. So we would start to Skype every every single day. This relationship, because it was long distance, we spent so much time talking to each other. There was no day we missed Skype. There was no day we missed messaging each other. It was very consuming because, of course, if the person doesn't live near you, your relationship is based all on communication. You have to put a lot of work and effort when it comes to a long distance relationship. At this point, it's like September now because I believe I came back from Spain near the end of August. So we talk all through September. October rolls around, and in October, Denmark starts talking about how he wants to come to Canada and visit. And he's never been to Canada before, and I was just like, oh yeah, I'd love that, but obviously I didn't really think it was actually gonna happen because I knew like I wouldn't be able to do that, so I thought he was just kind of just saying that. But he started saying that he has time off because at the time he was going to school, he had a job, and like, I don't know, it was really weird how it works, but he got really good vacation time, I remember, and he decided that he wanted to come to Canada near his birthday and we could celebrate together his birthday in Canada, and that would be the first time he comes down. He actually went ahead and ended up booking the trip to Canada for early November. Early November comes and I am honestly so nervous because of course I like met him when I was in Spain and we clicked and we've been talking ever since and have been on Skype for months now talking to each other, but I was kind of nervous to see him in person and how it was gonna go. I was kind of scared like how, but if it literally goes wrong and this person like came to Canada to visit me. And so he ended up coming to Canada. I went down to Toronto to visit him, and it was like we picked up right where we left off. We became so close after that. It pretty much felt like it was official from the first day we met, which is so strange and weird and bizarre to me. But even he said it was like the first day we met, we just clicked and we felt like we were together. I feel like that never really happens in relationships. You know, you go through the dating stage and you're like, okay, maybe we'll date or not, but we felt like we were together ever since. We didn't talk to anyone else and we just were kind of committed to each other and making this like weird thing work out. So when he came, he actually spent time in Canada. It was his first time here. So I showed him all the different places around Toronto and all the different things you could do. And I remember the first time of him leaving and I was so upset. I didn't want him to leave. The hardest thing to say bye and not knowing when was the next time that we were going to see each other. It made us a lot closer. And of course, me being such a girl, I was just like, wow, this is so romantic. He lives halfway across the world. He came from halfway across the world to see me. And I just felt like I was living in a movie and that it was like a fairy tale. This is gonna be it. This is a sign. What are the chances I meet someone halfway across the world and it actually like we're actually together? This is a sign. I had like all these things in my head. Jessica met him obviously when we were in Spain and she loved him. And my best friend at the time also, she met him and like was in Toronto and we were all hanging out and she loved him too and thought he was such a nice person. And all my friends pretty much approved. They really were for it and they really liked him. They thought he was like the sweetest person ever and they got like no bad vibes, nothing bad. So he ends up going home and we continue talking every single day. We talk on Skype. I remember like we even talked on like New Year's. We were Skyping on New Year's. So I Skyped like for his New Year's, which was 6 hours ahead, and then he came on Skype when it was my New Year's to celebrate like Happy New Year's from my side. So we spent like all our time talking to each other. We would talk for hours upon hours. I don't even know what we would talk about for so long, to be honest. I remember one night before he came down for the second time, we had this huge discussion because I just started thinking about the longevity of our relationship and what was gonna happen because of course we lived on two different sides of the world, and for it to work, one day one of us would have had to move for each other. And I just knew in my heart that I would have never moved because I'm just super close with my family and it just wasn't something that I could see myself doing. And so I remember I talked to him one night and we had a really serious conversation, and I pretty much was saying that I couldn't see myself moving one day, so like I don't want him to move for me when I wouldn't do the same. So I didn't want to feel like I am the pressuring him to move and then he's going to resent me or something. So I said that we could totally be friends. He did have, I think, a couple more years of school and I had my full-time job and we both had separate lives. So I remember saying like, I don't want him to feel pressured to be in this, that we can always like pick it up. Maybe a couple years down the line it would work out and maybe like that's when our paths would cross again. But he made it, he assured me that that is not what he wanted. I remember he was getting really upset. He actually cried on Skype and that was something that he just never did. He's not like a super emotional person. So when he did that, I was like, wow, he must really care. He was saying that no, he wanted to be with me and he couldn't live without me and that he would move in a heartbeat. He didn't care to stay where he was staying. He's like, it's not something I really like. I really need to stay in Denmark. He said down the line I wouldn't mind moving. He's like, I'm not gonna like ever hold it against you. Like I wanna 100% be with you. I would do anything and yada, 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 going on and on, when that would have been the perfect time for us to, you know, move on with our lives and there would have been some closure. And I was saying, you know, we don't need to make this work, but this person was begging me to stay in this relationship and that he couldn't live without me. This is the best relationship he's ever been in. I stayed in the relationship and I was like, okay, well, we'll see down the line what ends up going. I'm just gonna kind of go with the flow, see how it goes. And actually not long after, he ended up booking his second trip down to Canada, which is crazy to me because this is now the second time within the year that he came down. And it's not like he knew anyone in Canada. He's, like I said, he's never been to Canada before. So he came down and once again, I saw him, we spent time together, we did a lot of different things again, went on different dates and it was a good time. The ending is always difficult, of course, to say bye. Everything was good again. At this point, we were like together for months. And now that I think back, I cannot remember if he came one more time. He might have come one more time, but honestly, this happened years ago and I've kind of like blocked it out of my life. So it was either 2 or 3 times he came within the 1 year. Now we're gonna come to the ending. So, you know, I felt like I was living this dream, this fairy tale. I was like, thought this was the best person I've ever met in my life. They had so many things that I was looking for in a person. They checked all the check boxes. I felt like there was nothing wrong and I felt like we were stronger than ever and that we were gonna make this work. And so it was coming near the end and I remember Denmark had exams. He was really stressed near this time. He was also played soccer or football in Europe. So he was super busy and then he had his job, he had his like co-op. So he was totally a busy person, which is something that I really liked about him. We kind of had like a disagreement because he was kind of like in this like snappy mood where he was like stressed with his exam and I think he was like kind of taking it out on me. It wasn't anything extreme. It was kind of normal. Like he wasn't being like super rude or anything. But he was like apologizing, saying he was taking it out on me. And this was all through WhatsApp. And mind you that there is definitely a language barrier. He spoke really good English when he texted. Sometimes his English wasn't the best, but when he would speak English, it was really good. So there's definitely always a little bit of a language barrier when it came to us texting. Sometimes it wasn't like that extreme, but I could see like maybe, you know, because we are from different places that you could take something a little bit wrong. And I think that was what was going on there. It was just kind of miscommunication, but I didn't think like it was gonna lead to what it did. So after that message, we went back and forth a little bit. After that, I went to work and I kind of was just annoyed. So I wasn't really texting him and I was like, oh, he's not texting me, whatever, we'll talk tomorrow, I'll go back to normal and we'll move on from this. I can't remember now the sequence of what happened, but I think I tried texting him and then he ignored me. And then I was like, that's weird because like I said, like we talked literally from day to night for an entire year straight and he's never ignored me. So I thought it was so weird. And then I think I messaged again and he still ignored me. And then I went on to my social media and I noticed that he blocked me off everything. So he blocked me off Facebook, he blocked me on Instagram, he blocked me on, I think, Snapchat, he blocked me on literally everything. And I think he ended up blocking me on WhatsApp, I'm pretty sure, because then the messages weren't really going through. And at that point, I was like frantic. I was like, how could this person do this to me? Like, what is going going on? I was so confused. Ghosting at the time, this was like a few years ago and it wasn't such a big thing, and I definitely know I've never been ghosted in my life, especially when you were in a relationship with someone for an entire year. It's not like you went on a couple dates with someone and they just stopped talking to you. This was literally like we were in a year, this person flew out to see me, and all of a sudden this person like completely just cuts me off with no nothing, no answer. I remember my best friend at the time, she actually messaged him on her social media, and then all of a sudden he blocked her off Facebook, he blocked her Instagram, he blocked even Jessica's Instagram and stuff. He literally blocked all my friends off social media. My good old friends, they tried their hardest. I remember my best friend messaged his friend and he like answered back, but like it really got nowhere. Denmark still didn't try to reach out to me or didn't try to do anything after that. It was like a whole ordeal, and I remember I messaged him a bunch on WhatsApp, which I probably shouldn't have done, but your girl was totally going crazy during that time. I was so upset. I just never saw this coming or thought this person would do anything to hurt me, because of course he would always say I would never do anything to hurt you, like he did. So he cut me off completely and he was like, peace out. And then he like dipped out and he's like, I live halfway across the world from you, so you're not gonna bump into me. Peace. It didn't necessarily break me down so much because we ended the relationship. I feel like if we just had, you know, a mutual ending, we talked to each other, ended it properly. What bothered me the most and hurt me the most was the ghosting part. The fact that I didn't know why, and it left me with 1,000,001 questions. I didn't trust people after that because I thought like, how could this person be so fake? To me, like ghosting someone is just the biggest coward move you could do. It doesn't take a lot for someone to even just send a message or like confront. If you're gonna do that, just talk with the person and at least give them that closure. I think it is a horrible thing for someone to do. It is disgusting and pathetic. Can you be any more of a coward? Probably not. I was scared for a long time that people are just gonna leave me for no reason, and I hate that. I would never do that to someone ever. And the fact too that he lives so far away, I think he just took that and ran with it, and he's like, well, I don't have to deal with this because this girl lives halfway across the world and I'll never see her again. So that is my ghosting story. Obviously it's been years that passed, and to this day I have never gotten an answer or a reason why he did that to me. My friends and I have totally come up with a ton of conspiracies, let me tell you that. We have like our theories, but to this day I cannot give a definite answer as to why that relationship ended or what was the problem or what was going on. I definitely had to feel and go through heartbreak, and I totally did not date people for a very long time after that. Sorry if the angle changed. My camera just died because I was talking too much, so I had to change batteries. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, you know, you can enjoy off my heartbreak. It was fun to just sit down here and do another story time. If you guys want me to do more, or you want me to do a video on a certain topic, you can always let me know. Leave your stories down below. We can always relate. I feel like so many other people go through this. And if you guys want to talk to me privately, you can on my Instagram. I kind of also wanted to make this video because I remember back at the time when I was going through all the feels, I thought like, oh my god, I did something wrong, it must be me, what did I do? And I realized, you know, it had nothing to do with me, it had to do with that person. That person is just a pathetic coward, and never think it has anything to do with you, because if someone's gonna do something like that and disregard other people's feelings and just care about their feelings, they're obviously not a good person, and you don't want to end up with that person in the long run. I am so thankful that it did not continue on for even longer than it did, because imagine I wasted even more of my time and invested more of my time on that prick. Can we imagine that? If someone's gonna do that to you, they're just not a good person, and it is time to walk out and move on and find someone that's gonna treat you like the princess or the prince that you are. Don't forget to subscribe to join my YouTube family. I upload every single week, and thank you for listening to my ghosting story. So on that note, I will catch you guys in my next video. Bye!